Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for yet another player ratings live stream following Chelsea's 2-0 victory in the UEFA Champions League quarter-final first leg over Porto, officially away from home, but played in Sevilla, as will the second leg next week. It's a bit dodgy, that's away goal rules count anyway. And we're joined today by, obviously, our very special partner in crime for this player ratings live streams with a new profile picture with the new Avi. That's actually his own face. I mean, we can't see his full face, but it's actually his own face. So big up yourself, Pys. How are you tonight?
Yeah, thanks for the nice intro. I decided to change it. Still probably won't do face cam on stream and stuff, but at least you can kind of see what I kind of look like now from a picture a while ago. But I've actually rechanged it on Twitter as well, if anyone's noticed, because people just weren't noticing me. It was weird. I think everyone just must love my Hazard's picture. But anyway, I mean, here for the stream today, it was a crazy result, really good, and actually what I predicted, I said 2-0. So I mean, I'm happy with that as well. I'm gassed, to be fair. Just it feels like the Atletico away performance as well. You know, we didn't exactly play great, but we just got the job done, and that's what you need. And you know, if we are to go far in this competition, we need these games where we don't, play great, but we still grind out results. So I think that's holds as much importance as, playing really well as well. So if you can grind out results like this, get 2 away goals when you're not at your best, with loads of other options on the bench as well, then that's like amazing for me, really.
100%. And to be honest, I'm not sure why I've not thought of this until now, but if this is your profile pic, Memulus, the YouTuber, you could just sit there with a mask on.
I actually know who you mean as well. That's funny.
I reckon you should just turn up with whatever you're wearing on your face there in Dubai, and you should just turn up with that on camera.
It was like, so I went to Dubai and they give you like the face like scarf things for when you go to like the sand, and that's what it is. Yeah, I had to wear it, and I was like taking pictures while I was on the quad bike. It was proper hard, but yeah, it was weird. Good times. Not so good now with the whole pandemic stuff, but Chelsea's making it a bit better.
Exactly. Can't wait to go on holiday again. It's been a minute.
Been
a minute. But today, I can only agree with what you said. It wasn't a vintage performance. It wasn't incredible, but it was good. It was good. We got 2 very important goals, especially the first one. Obviously, the second one helps us in terms of going through, but in terms of the game, the first goal was huge to get that through. Obviously, Mason Mount. What a guy he is. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't seen it on Blues Fan TV, me saying it, our youngest ever knockout stage goal scorer, which is quite some achievement in my opinion. So I'm very, very happy with him, very, very happy for him, and very, very happy with, the result. Like I said, I wasn't particularly happy with our performance. I won't lie to you, because I didn't understand a lot of what we did, because I was like, okay, Pys somehow just left. I hope he's going to be back soon. But I just didn't really understand why we kept punting the ball long. Do you see what I mean? That just confused me a little bit. Sorry, guys, I'm just typing out. Pys is back. Don't know what happened, but he's back. Don't worry, guys. Not to worry. Everything's good.
Just completely lagged out. I don't know what happened. It just
okay. Oh, good.
Yeah, it does that sometimes.
Yeah, it does. As I was saying, I didn't really understand the game plan at times. I was like, why are we constantly punting the ball long? I know it was because of Porto's press, but still, I think we could have dealt with things a little bit better at times. But also, our long balls just weren't very good. Of course, if they were good, I definitely wouldn't be complaining about it. But hell, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, if you get a 2-0 win away from home, it was away from home. Just obviously, it wasn't at home for Porto. But in the quarterfinals of the Champions League, we really shouldn't be complaining too much. Of course, we will give some maybe lower ratings because some people just didn't have good performances. Werner. And a couple of others as well. But at the end of the day, you can only be happy, really. You can only be happy, don't you think?
No, you can. As you said, there was a couple of iffy performances, but I mean, to be fair, the whole team did contribute. To be fair, it's a team performance at the end of the day. Not every individual can play well, so I'm just happy with the result.
100%. I couldn't agree more. And sorry, guys, I'm just typing out the lineup so I can put it on screen at the very bottom to make things a lot easier for everybody involved. But Ladies and gentlemen, if you're here right now, if you're watching this right now, first of all, I appreciate you. Please be sure to subscribe. That'd be massively appreciated. We want to hit 10,000 subscribers as soon as possible. Craig keeps telling me we're going to do that by the end of April. Not sure about it, but hey, prove me wrong, prove him right. So get subscribed if you haven't already. Smash that like button. Turn it from a dead boring grey, like, Pice's thingy around his Avi, a boring grey like that, turn it into a lovely blue. Do that, click the like button, use the super chat function if you do want to support the channel, become a member if you fancy that as well. And Jorginho was not just apparently, but factually man of the match, which I think is quite funny. Not that I think he actually deserves to be man of the match, but because I think it's funny when people hate on him and they're just like, oh, he was man of the match, what can I say now? I just think that's funny. But blue is the colour, like Flyer said. Like I said, welcome everybody in the chat. I hope you're all good. And as you might have seen on Twitter, Miz, the other side of the coin, will join us in about half an hour or so, maybe a little bit sooner than that, to give us his thoughts on the game tonight as well. So definitely stick around for that and get involved for that. And London is red. Are you sure? But is what it is. You do your thing, bro. You do your thing. I did put Alonso, bro. Ryan, thank you. Appreciate it. I didn't put Alonso as such. I just didn't change it from last game. But let's start at the back. Let's start at the back with one of the men of the matches, in my opinion, Mr. Edouard the Cat Mendy. Because although none of the saves were like huge save of the season, kind of saves, but there was a lot of good saves in there. He had to be on his toes when, the dude tried the direct corner. Had a couple of good saves, in particular when Rudiger was claiming offsides when the guy was 10 meters behind him when the ball was played. Not sure how he came to that conclusion, but Rudiger kind of just completely fell asleep and, Mendy had to bail him out. Good save with his leg. And a couple of other good ones as well. The closest that Porto arguably got in the second half was the shot just wide of the post. He had that covered as well. So really a brilliant performance from Mendy. Another clean sheet. Obviously didn't look great on the weekend with the 5 goals, but another clean sheet. What is that? It's 21st clean sheet for Chelsea, which is insane anyway. What we saying? What we saying for that, Pice? Where would you rate him?
Yeah, Mendy gets a really high rating for me today. He made 3 really good saves, especially the one, on the corner where no one was really talking about it. But for me, that was a top save. So, again, the one with Marega was a really good save as well, which I really enjoyed watching. I just think he is really dependable, to be honest. I do think he's a really strong goalie. So, I mean, I'm going to give him between an 8.5 and a 9, I think. I'm going to give him a 9, to be fair. I think he deserves that.
To be honest, bro, I think I would tend to agree, to be honest. Like, you can't do more than he did today. And to be honest, like, if we consider everything and how the on-pitch performance was, you could certainly make a case that he should probably get the highest rating, because in terms of what is your job, how well did you do it, he was probably the closest to doing his job perfectly. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Again, like when we needed him, he was there, and that's what you want from a keeper. You don't want any anxiety, like when players are through on goal. I don't really get that with Mendy. I'll tell you what. Ever since, remember the Rashford 1-on-1 where he saved with his feet when that was that 0-0 game. That's when I was really like, yeah, you know what, I can be confident when this guy's 1-on-1 like with a player. Because with Kepa, I'm really not. With Mendy, I am. And today again, I just felt an overwhelming sense of confidence. When he had to be called upon. So I think he does get a really high rating.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would agree on the 9 as well. I think he absolutely warrants and deserves that. Obviously, you can see it on the screen, but just to clarify to people, that's the lineup we went with today. Actually, let me get your thoughts on that quickly. Obviously, we spoke yesterday in the preview, but you thought it would be Thiago Silva, didn't you? I had a little bit of a feeling that it would be Christensen. I would have personally gone for Christensen anyway. Or did you say you would go for Thiago but think it was Christensen? Whichever way, you will tell me in a second. But I didn't necessarily it was a little bit of a surprise, regardless of what you thought he might do. It was a bit of a surprise that he actually did it, leaving Thiago Silva out for this one. Other than that, probably what most people expected, although a lot of people seem to expect Giroud to start, which personally I didn't. But what did you make of the lineup, and in particular Christensen starting over Thiago Silva, bro?
Yeah, see, like, as we said yesterday when I hopped on, I was like, yeah, I think Aspie's going to play. I don't think Silva will play. And I think, I said I should think Silva should play because that's who I wanted. I wanted Rudiger, Silva and Christensen. But I just had a feeling he'd play Aspie because of experience and all that and captain and sort of the politics that do usually come with that. And obviously he still has been quite good as well. But I want to see that back three still because I want to see Christensen and Silva in the same back three. And then it'd just be really harsh to leave Rudiger out because he's a really good left centre back. So I think he keeps his spot there in terms of the left side. But I mean, in terms of the lineup today, I didn't really have many problems with it. Just the one problem I had again was Werner. As soon as I saw that, I was like, what's the point? Like, seriously, like, I don't know, man. It just didn't really make much sense to me. I would have much rather to see Hudson-Odoi taking people on, more creative. I don't know, man. I just, against these sort of teams, again, Werner really struggled to get in the game. Honestly, he really did. So I was kind of proven right there. And I know you was as well because you didn't really want to see Werner in the team either. But the one thing I did get right, I thought it would be Havertz, false nine, and Mount. Giroud, to be honest, looking back on the game and how high Porto pressed us, because I admittedly haven't watched much Porto before this, but Porto pressed like hell, man. They were very, very good at high pressing. We struggled to get out, and what we was doing was just we was forced to boot it long. And even though Havertz is tall, he was still getting bullied by Pepe. And some of the balls weren't even going to bloody Havertz. They were going like out wide and all sorts of crap. Like some of them were going off the pitch and back to their own goalie. Like it was crazy. So I think bringing Giroud on was great. And looking back to it, maybe Giroud starts second leg because they're probably going to press us even more. And that's our sort of get out of jail card is we can just boot it up long to Giroud. And he's like by far our best aerial attacker anyway. So I think that's what it will do for the second leg anyway. So, yeah, I think that's what I have to say on everything.
That's an interesting take on the Giroud thing. I see it, to be honest. Like, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of Giroud, and my initial thought when I see a team press us high, I think so we don't need Giroud is pointless because he will not get into the box in time when other players do that have so much more pace than him. I see what you're saying with the long balls. I still have the feeling that if the front three just moved around more, and we just didn't just punt it on. I know they pressed us super well, but I rate our players very highly. I think we could have done better to get around their press, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? So That is my thinking of it. And for me, I thought when the first two subs happened, that was kind of when Werner and Havertz started to get into the game at least a little bit. And when Giroud and Pulli were on, not that either of them did anything particularly wrong, but for the next 20 minutes, like we were so not in the game at all, or 15, let's say. It got better than when Kante came on and Thiago Silva too. But for that period, we were struggling so hard. We could not get the ball out of our own half. So I'm not sure whether that would, because that didn't make me think, okay, Giroud there would make such a big difference. But hey, it's obviously different if you would start than just coming on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do agree with you on the sort of like playing out of their press more. We just seemed to like hoof it forward today. Like it was really weird. We just played like Route 1 football most of the time, you know. When we did play around, like
we wasn't good at it.
No, yeah, we wasn't good at it. And to be fair, if we didn't go long, like straight up long to Havertz, we was trying to like get in behind with Reece and Chilwell, which could have worked more times if we played better passes. Like it came down like Christensen, Kovacic, Jorginho, Aspi. They all misplaced like the long passes when James and Chilwell were going down the flanks and we was getting in behind them because we was outnumbering them out wide, which was really interesting. And that's what happened on Chilwell's goal. I know it was a mistake, but still the ball went forward. Chilwell was pushed up. Then he made the mistake and then Chilwell pounced. So second leg, we just got to get those passes. If we're going to play the same way and attack the flanks, sort of double up with the fullbacks and then the inside forwards, just make sure the passes are accurate because the passing wasn't good tonight. It really wasn't.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And, you know, it's one of those. You can play Route 1 football. You can keep playing long balls, but that's when you need the likes of, I don't know, a David Luiz, a Fabregas, maybe even a Thiago Silva, or a good day, Rudiger and Christensen. But that just wasn't it today. Like the long balls just weren't coming off at all. And, you know, that's why I'm not too critical. I won't be too critical of Jorginho and Kovacic because I just didn't like the game plan by Tuchel in that sense. I know we won and it worked, but I don't like it when we just punt it. I don't like that. Like I see us as better than that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I do agree, and I think the players were expecting a little bit, sort of like a scrappy game, you know, sort of just. I wasn't expecting neat, precise football, to be honest with you, because I knew like Porto were just going to make it scrappy. They was going to dive about. They was going to press us. And to be fair to us, every time we did try and put combinations together, bang, they're just one of them would just wipe our player out. Like an example was Pulisic he tried to shimmy and go past someone, he just got clattered. Like if you got past him there, like that was, he was
But
pretty
if
much
we did
sort
that more, we might have got one of them sent off, to be fair.
That's true, but like as I was saying, when we did do it, we just got clattered by them. Like, and again, to be fair to Porto, they did a really good job of sort of. I noticed like whenever we got the ball, there was always 2 or 3 of them on us. Like that was crazy. Like really well organised and structured. To be fair to them, so again, that comes down to the manager, and that's what Alex was saying on stream yesterday. They're really well organised and they press together well. Kind of reminds us what we was doing with Tuchel, like really early on, and we still do it now. Is but when we lose the ball, that's when we sort of press like 2 or 3 of us instead of just one of us. Like individual pressing, we press it in a group, and that's what Porto were doing, off the ball. So, I mean, they did make it difficult for us. I can't lie. I'm really not too critical of individuals today because I was impressed by Porto. They were really a hard test for us, I think.
That is a fair point. That is a very fair point. And yeah, honestly, they made him, Conceição, the Porto manager, made Simeone and Atletico kind of look a bit like amateurs because, they tried to press us in that second leg at the bridge. And honestly, it was one of the easiest presses to ever play around we ever faced. And that is like, especially compared to Barnsley, which was probably second most difficult behind Porto, in all honesty. Even more difficult than bloody Liverpool was Barnsley. Obviously not helped by the pitch that day, but still. But yeah, no, to be fair, credit to Porto. Obviously not too much credit, and I can give them more credit once we've knocked them out next week. But, let's move on. Obviously, we gave Mendy a 9. Let's get to Aspie. Like you said, the long balls weren't good. You said you thought it could have been a penalty. His shove on Marega, I disagreed. I think it was just flip-flopping about. See, because to me, yes, it's a push, but to me, it's not even a push that is enough to go down. So, do you know what I mean? Like, he had both feet on the ground. If that push was while he was jumping in an aerial battle, then yes, that's a foul. But to me, if your feet are on the ground, that wasn't enough of a push for anything. So I'm not going to deduct him any points for that. You might, let's see. But I think overall, he had a lot of very important blocks, very good blocks, a lot of, covering for other people. And in my opinion, he had an overall good performance, just that his long balls weren't at it.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I'm still not sure on the penalty, to be fair. Like, I don't know if that... whenever I see penalties, I always think, personally, if that was, one of our players, would I say that's a penalty? And I try and be as unbiased as possible. And you guys can disagree, and you can disagree, Laurenz, but for me, if that's on Mount, Werner, anyone, I'm saying penalty because he did put his hands out and push him. Whether or not it was enough to go down, I don't know. I expected him to give it I don't know, man. Yeah, really sticky debate, I guess, because I don't want to deduct points for Aspie because of that when he didn't even get, a penalty or anything. But for me, if that was on us, I would say penalty. So interesting. I'll be interested to hear your rating for him because I guess I'll base it off that.
It's a difficult one. I mean, and a lot of people saying, it might be a penalty. For me, it's one of those. It's maybe I'll give you that much that it's maybe as much as a 50-50 where the one ref will give it, the other one won't, but it's not clear as day either way. So yes, if it happens on us, I might call for it, and I wouldn't have been totally outraged if the ref gave it, other than the fact that Marega just flopped, and he's such a big guy. Like I just can't handle it when big players just flop about. Like it really triggers me, honestly. So I can see why you could give the pen, but I personally wouldn't. Would I call for it if it's a Chelsea player? Maybe yes, but that's my Chelsea bias. If it was a neutral game, I probably would say it's not a pen, if that makes sense. I would give Aspie 8, because I think he had a lot of, like I said, he had so many important blocks. That one moment when a cross came in and he just about got there to push, I can't remember which of the attackers it was. I think it might have been Luis or Diaz, push him off enough, when the guy again called for a penalty and it ended up in a goal kick for us. Like, I think I would accept the 7.5, but I think 8 is fair.
I think 7.5. To be fair, I don't think he was our best defender, so I think I'm going to give him 7.5.
And that's going to be interesting what we give the other defenders, because let's just talk about that before we almost give finalize an aspirator. Because to me, Christensen, he was good. I know in the first half he won all of his aerial duels. I don't know about the whole game in the end. He was good, but from Christensen, I expect more in terms of passing than I do of Aspie. So him being poor at passing kind of deducts him more points than Aspie, if that makes sense. And really got kind of, I know it was actually very good, but that moment where he just fell asleep and claimed an offside, that kind of triggered me, I won't lie. So I'm going to deduct him a full point for that, because like you cannot just call an offside and
Full point.
expect your goalkeeper to bail you out. Like you cannot accept that, honestly.
That was like an old Rudiger moment, wasn't it? It was like one of those balls in behind. I was like, wake up, like he's in. And he just didn't. He like completely just, he's just like a brain freeze moment, I guess. But he has had those in the past, and they've ended up in goals. So luckily it wasn't. But yeah, it's hard to rate defenders, to be honest, because like, I don't know, like, yeah, I mean,
I would give Aspie and Christensen an 8 and Rudiger 7.5 for that moment.
But then again, to be fair, I've kind of like contradicted myself, because now, like, thinking of like your explanations, I kind of want to give Aspie the highest rating, because like what you were explaining about Christensen and Rudiger, I do agree they weren't as good on the ball, I feel. So I'd probably give both of them a 7.5 and then Aspie an 8 probably. If you're thinking it that way, then I guess Aspie does get the highest rating, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, for me, I think defensively maybe Christensen was a bit better than Aspie, but then his passing was a bit worse than Aspie. I would expect more from him than Aspie, hence why I end up giving them both the same rating. And then Rudiger had this equally as poor passing as Christensen, even though I expect more from him, plus that one brain fart moment, hence why I would say 7.5. But what would you give all three of them? Let's do it all three, because maybe that makes it a bit easier in terms of comparing it. Yeah,
so I will agree with you then, because like it balances it out with Christensen defending and then the poor passing. So Aspie 8, Christensen 8, and Rudiger 7.5.
Brilliant. I mean, let's see what Miss says when he comes in. You know, he might tell us we're idiots and, change everything. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. We also have a super chat here by Mr. Deno, the legend himself. And someone put in a chat, why is his super chat red? To be honest, I don't know. I've never, he's the only guy that turns up with red super chat. I don't know what kind of cheat code you have, Deno, but I like it, to be honest. Man of the match, in his opinion, was one of the wing backs. Job done. Who's next? Yeah, I mean, Palace, but then we have to just do it again against Porto, and then we can continue from there. I appreciate the donation, and I'm inclined to agree alongside Mendy, personally. I think the fullbacks alongside Mendy will deserve man of the match, personally. Let's get to those two wing-backs. Let's start with Reece James, who I thought had an absolute masterclass. I know he was taken off, and to be honest, I will say this. Aspie as a wing-back was way more active than Reece was over multiple weeks. Like, Aspie was bombing up and down that wing, getting to the byline, trying to get crosses in. I was like, Reece, why are you never doing this?
I do agree with you. And it was funny because it's just Aspie was probably like, oh, this is my only opportunity to play wing-back now. I'm going for it, you know what I mean? I'm going to have a good time. We're 2-0 up. I'm just going to go for it. So
honestly, that's what it felt like.
Yeah, he was just bombing up there and everything, like crazy guy.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what it means. Because I still think Reece James was brilliant. But and I said this on the watch along on Blues Fans TV earlier, I said, I'm not sure I'm a big fan of Aspie playing wing back. And then he does that it was only 10 minutes. But it was brilliant. I won't lie, he was very good at it. Fair play, Aspie. But still, I know, obviously Deno said one of the wing backs was man of the match for him. I'm going to give Reece an 8.5, but if you say 9, I'll be okay with it.
I'm saying 9, 100%. 100%. I'm saying 9, definitely.
Yeah. Now, like I said, I just think it could have done a little bit more in helping us pass out the press, because obviously the wing-backs were kind of forced to help us more with that than he could. And there was one moment in the first half where we really played it out of their press really well. Aspie, Reece, Jorginho, Kovacic, they played it out really well. And then Reece had a not very difficult through ball to Mason, who could have got us into a very good position. And Reece just bottled that pass. And obviously, I know that's an individual moment, and I'm not going to deduct him a half a point for that. That's not what I'm saying. But it's just moments like this, if that makes sense, where you could just do that edge better. But maybe that's why it doesn't get a 10, fair enough. So I will be absolutely okay with the 9. And Ben Chilwell, should we just give Chile, James, and Mendy all a 9? Because although I think Reece was... I would be inclined to give Chile a 9.5. Even though I know it sounds crazy high, but I think that goal was just huge.
See, I originally had him down as more like an 8, but when he got that goal, I was kind of like...
I agree.
I'm kind of thinking bump it up more to a 9. But then again, I think I said Mendy was my man of the match, so I can't really have them all the same rating, can I?
Yeah, of course you can.
Can I? I don't know. Like, it just feels weird to not have someone...
Have it in your head as like Mendy gets a 9.2 and the others get a 9.0.
All right, then. So for people commenting and stuff like that and listening, Mendy is my man of the match. So for me, like, if you see the same ratings for other people, it doesn't mean that I think everyone's on the same sort of rating. I think Mendy was man of the match, but Chilwell was good. But I think, as I said, originally I'm down around about an 8, but that goal was really good, by the way, as well. I thought he was going to shoot when he was like, he was driving through. I thought he was just going to just drive it across goal, like kind of like Mount's goal. But then to like take it past the goalie and then tap it in with his other foot, that was really surprising, to be honest. To be honest, I had no confidence in him scoring that. I would have had more confidence in Emerson running through and scoring, to be honest with you. But fair play to him, honestly. It was a great goal, and 2 away goals is massive. Like, 1 is good, 2 is excellent, like really, really good. So let's go for a 9 for Chilwell for that not important, vital goal, I think.
100%. Yeah, I mean, on the goal, I agree 100%. It's just for me, Chile, like Jester just put it in the chat. Reece had more to do. I 100% agree with that, which is maybe why it's fair to give like the initial rating Reece an edge higher, but then plus the goal bumps it to the same, which I think is fair. I would have seen like you. I would have had him a bit lower than Reece, and then the goal bumps him up. But I think I would have had him at an 8.5 because I was very happy with him, and then maybe a 9.5. But I do agree with you. Let's give them all a 9. And just in terms of the rating and Mendy being your man of the match, just think about it like, I don't know, in school and uni. You know how you can have an A, but you can have like an A getting 97% and 95%, but still both an A.
Yeah, all right then. Fair enough.
See what I mean?
Say like that, yeah. All right.
Exactly. And ladies and gentlemen, we have over 200 people watching. Big ups to all of you guys for that. Make sure you get subscribed though. Help us reach 10,000 subscribers as soon as possible and smash the bloody like button. Let me see how many likes we've got already. We've got, if the thing updates, 51 likes. So come on, guys, get that rating number, whatever the word is, up. So smash the like button, get that done now. Let's get to 100 likes at least. Come on, guys, let's do that. But yeah, now we're done with the fullbacks. Let's get to the 2 central midfielders, who Jorginho, again, officially won man of the match. I'll show you the picture in just a second, if I can scroll down far enough for it. Here he is with that lovely, that's a beautiful man of the match trophy. I will say this, by the way. Didn't quite agree with him being man of the match, but he was voted it anyway, so fair play. What would you rate him? I would give Jorginho as... I'll let you go first because I'm not 100% sure.
I'd give him and Kovacic the same rating. I would both give them just below what we give the others. I think I would give them 8.5s, I think.
Really?
Yeah, and the reason I say...
Higher than a centre-back?
Yeah, I think so, honestly. Because of the way Porto pressed, I thought they did really, really well, especially Kovacic. I mean, see, yeah, maybe 8s then. Maybe 8.5 is too high. 8s. People are saying 8 in the comments. Maybe I've got a bit of bias towards Kovacic, but I don't know. With Kovacic, it was like that one-on-one he stopped, and then he played that through ball to Pulisic, hit the bar, and he played the ball.
Yeah, Jorginho got the assist as well, which I kind of forgot
and
about.
Jorginho got the assist. So, like, when you think of it like that, and then Jorginho won man of the match, it's hard not to give them both a really high rating. I just think on the eye, it didn't look as like they both played good today because, like, when people think of like a Jovicic masterclass, they think of like passing out the press, round the opponents, getting the ball forward, controlling the play. But because it was a scrappy game, people were like, "I'll get Kante on now." We need his energy, win the balls back, and stuff like that. And I was feeling like that at a point, but honestly, I thought they both did really well today, and they did both get really good starts as well. So they contributed. I mean, 8 or 8.5 for both, I think. I don't think anyone gets higher because obviously Jorginho man of the match, and then Kovacic did his bit as well with the involvement. So I'll leave it up to you.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because I don't think they were as good. I see what you're saying with Porto just made it so difficult, but I still think both of them could have dealt with the press a lot better. Both of their long-range passing wasn't on today, and we kind of criticised the centre-backs for that. I think the same has to be said for Kovacic and Jorginho. Whenever they attempted the over-the-top balls, they didn't find their target, and you would argue you would probably expect your central midfielders to be even better at that than your defenders. I would have given neither of them more than a 7. Personally.
Wow, I think low.
Yeah, but it's not low though, is it? Like 7 is still a good rating. Like for me, Jorginho's performance was a 6.5, and then the assist bumps it to a 7. I think Kovacic was an edge better, but Jorginho got an assist, which is always. I know, obviously, maybe some people would say, it doesn't make a difference whether you get an assist or whatever. Pice will be back in just a second. I mean, put it in the chat, guys. What do you think? Like I said, for me, I don't know. It's close to that. And Flyers saying, I'm off, guys. So tired. I hit the like button before I've gone. Appreciate you a lot. Have a good evening, bro. I'll talk to you soon. I'll see you soon. I'll fill you in what I said. Like I said, for me, yeah, obviously you could argue maybe the assist shouldn't even put them on the same rating. But yeah, I think Jorginho was an edge worse than Kovacic. He got caught out a couple more times, maybe. And obviously didn't have the dribble past the press. But like I said, I think they could have dealt with the press better. I know you could say Porto's press was just really good, but I just think they're both brilliant players, and I think they could have dealt with it better.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of agree, but Porto were just so good and so like they didn't allow us any space. Like they didn't allow any of the combinations that Jorginho and Kovacic used to do, like passing around the players and stuff, because they double teamed us every time. We tried to play out the press. It wasn't just, one player or two players pressing. It was like 3 or 4. Like they were really sort of packed in. They allowed us no space, and that's why we kept booting the ball forward, and it was kind of a scrappy game. So it's hard for the ratings because there's just so many variables in it. Like,
yeah,
you can say
I just think
better,
we said it earlier that we weren't actually that great. So it just feels like to give the midfielders, like the defenders, sure, we kept a clean sheet and the wing backs were really good, but I feel like it just seems to give the midfielders an 8 just seems a bit high for me. If you say you won't go any lower than 7.5, that's okay for me. But for me, an 8 is just too high. Sorry.
All right, I'll bump them down to 7.5 then. Just
for both of them, or would you give one of them higher than the other?
Oh no, see, I would give Kovacic an 8 because I'm biased, and also he did stop that 1v1, which I'm sure was a goal. If he wasn't there, and like this is the thing as well, people can just say, "All right, that's him just doing his job." But remember the other day when people were like absolutely slamming him for not being in position.
Yeah,
like
no, true.
Well, guys, look, he's in position today and he stopped the goal, and no one's talking about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just I don't know, man. It's weird sometimes to me. So
yeah,
I would.
I see what you're saying. Like I said, I would have given them both a 7. You would have given them both an 8, maybe an 8.5. I know you said you'd like to push Kova up there, and if I'd be okay with Kova being higher than Jorginho, but not at an 8. I just think that's too. I don't think the midfielders were good enough for that today. And again, it doesn't mean like I know obviously in context to comparison, but 7.5 is still a very good rating. Like, do you see what I'm saying?
I don't know. Let's compromise.
Let's compromise. Yeah, let's fair. Because now we'll get to the end of the pitch. First, Mason Mount, but we'll still get to the end of the pitch where the performances weren't quite as good. In particular, when we get to Werner and Kai Havertz. Mason Mount was an interesting one. Wasn't quite as involved in the play, more than the other two, because obviously he dropped deeper and scored a huge goal. What a brilliant finish that is, by the way. What a turn as well. Incredible. So I think the goal pushes him up to an 8. maybe 8.5, but I don't think he was better than that.
Yeah, I would probably have him as an 8.5 just because of the goal, and I think he was. I think he was good. It was just hard to get. Obviously, it is hard to get involved in this type of game because all the balls were going up long. But when he did get on the ball, I thought he was quite good. So I would give him an 8.5. Not a 9 because he just wasn't involved as like Reece or someone who got a 9, and Reece just had to do more. I think in the overall game was involved way more. But an 8.5 is definitely reasonable. I think with the goal. I mean, some people are saying like 8, but I don't know. Can you 8/8.5? I think depends on what you want to do. It's between.
I think let's just be positive because it was such a huge goal, such a good goal as well. That even though usually my header goal bumps you up by 1, I think a huge goal like that, a good goal like that, even though overall I would have probably put him and Kovacic both a 7. Like I said, Jorginho a 6.5 without the assist, and a 7 as well. And then the goal, maybe because it was such a big and good goal, I'll be okay with an 8.5. Let's go with an 8.5. And now we'll definitely go to the two that will get low ratings today, and so they should. Timo Werner first. I mean, you know how I've explained this before, how I usually do things. I start at a 5, and then if you do good things, you get bumped up, and if you do bad things, you get bumped down. I can't think of a single thing that can bump him up for anything, but I can think of a few that can bump him down. I know, like, the thing is, his squaring the ball for Havertz was actually really good when Havertz arguably should have scored, but he was a yard offside again. Like, use your brain and stop being offside all the time. Like, I can't even give him a positive rating because you were offside stupidly again. Like, I'm not giving Werner anything higher than a 4 on, like, at the max.
A 4.
Bro, you were shocking. What did he do? What good thing did he do? And do you remember that when he started doing step overs and then just forgot the ball and lost it?
No, I do agree with you. Like in terms of he was bad, and I do think as one of the
and that control with the thigh, like, and then it just bounced straight to the opponent.
He definitely does need to be dropped. Like I don't really get the bias towards keep playing him in every single game. I just guess he's trying to get his confidence up, but he's not doing anything to get his confidence up. You know what I mean? He's not getting involved. He can't dribble. He can't, he's just useless against this type of opponent. Like, it's the problem with him. So, I mean, some comments saying like 3, 5. I mean, to be honest, because it's positive, I'm just going to go for a 5 because like an average rating. But I can see why you want to go lower. But then for me, if I start dipping into 4s and 3s, that's when we lose or draw. You know what I mean? That's sort of the way I look at it. So I think 5 just for an average performance, and maybe he gets a 0.5 just because he was involved in the team win. So I think that's what I'm thinking.
A point. So basically, it's a 4.5, but we won, so it's a 5.
But yeah, just trying to be nice. You know what I mean? Just being positive.
Okay.
Just be nice. If it's positive, we won. So
okay.
I
mean, like I said, I would have still gone with the 4. So we'll make it a 4.5, even though it sounds strong on screen, but like, I just can't give it. Honestly, I think he was dreadful, and I'm not going to be much nicer on Kai. A little bit, and I'll explain in a second. But yeah, let's do 4.5. Just quickly, because I saw someone that seemingly is a Porto fan, judging by the name. What do you thought of Porto? I was impressed by Porto, in all honesty. I thought you were very good, very impressive, a much higher line than I expected you to play. Still compact, and Pepe, I've rarely been as impressed of a player as I've been of Pepe. The guy's 38. Man was outrunning Mason Mount, like in terms of sprint speed. This is insane. And to top things off and make things even better, we are joined by an incredibly special guest, our friend from Down Under, on a very special night. Mr. Miz, Mr. The Other Side of the Coin, has joined us for our player ratings. My bro, how are you doing? It's been a long time. I hope you're well.
Man, I'm buzzing. Hey, what a morning. I know it's nighttime for you guys, but it's morning, 8:26 a.m. just before work. What a performance, man. Oh, my days. From the 5-2 dropping that we took just literally a few days ago to come out there and do that against a very good Porto side, albeit few players out, but they still look so dangerous in that particular game. To keep them in a clean sheet and to score 2 goals. Oh, brilliant performance, man. But yeah, Happy to be here, Laurenz. Obviously, I love your channel, man. What you do here is fantastic.
Exactly. By the way, guys, I will also be joining Miz on his channel tomorrow afternoon. So definitely be tuning in for that. Check out his channel down in the description below. Just click the @ takes you straight to his channel. Subscribe to him. I'll get you through the other ratings that we've already gone through in just a minute. We were just talking about Timo Werner. We were very harsh. Him and Werner and Havertz, we weren't very happy with. I was going to give Werner nothing higher than a 4. Pies said 5, so we'd agreed on a 4.5. But what way are you going to sway us? Are you going to sway it to a 5? You're going to sway it to a 4? Stick with the 4.5? What are you saying?
I think 4.5 is probably good enough. I think that's probably what he deserved. I said it in my stream just a moment ago that I don't want to bash Timo Werner, right? I don't want to bash Timo Werner. I understand why Thomas Tuchel uses him. It's probably for his pace, probably for his work rate. But he's there for the goals. He's there for the goals. Today, there was a header opportunity where there was literally no one around him. At least hit the target, my man. At least hit the target. And there would have been another assist for Mason Mount. Do you know what I mean? So, a lot of people talk about Mason Mount in a sort of, not a lot of people. I think most people talk about Mason Mount in a positive manner right now. But there are that 1 or 2 people that keep saying, he doesn't get open play assists. Well, there's that opportunity right there where you need a Timo Werner to smash it in with no pressure. He doesn't get that. And then there was that dribbling opportunity in the second half where he dribble, and then he leaves the ball behind. And then he sort of goes down and he's like, oh my God. Like he's kind of upset with himself for all the things that he's been doing. So look, I hope it turns around for him because it's painful. Every now and then when you see him doing what he's doing, it is painful. It may be worthwhile to put him away in the bench for a little while, just to get his composure back again. Maybe he just needs to relax a little bit. Maybe he feels a bit too much pressure right now, being played every single game and not then scoring. The pressure keeps building. So maybe it just might be good enough for him to be benched, and hopefully Pulisic, with all his injury concerns, goes away, that he gets that opportunity, or someone like Halaman gets that opportunity. But yeah, man, I'm completely in agreement with you guys in regards to 4.5. I think that's justified.
Yeah, no, I would agree as well. And, people are already talking about it in the chat and talking, we're definitely going to give Havertz more, even though he was equally as bad. Yes, I will give Havertz slightly more. I would, but not a lot more. I would give him the 5 because I think how we played today was more against Havertz's strength than it was against Timo Werner's strength. Like we put Kai Havertz in one aerial battle after the other against Pepe and Mbemba. Like, what are we thinking? Like, if that's how the game's going to go, don't play Havertz as a false 9. That's why I'm not going to be as harsh, if that makes sense. But he was poor. He didn't hold on any ball. He was barely involved at all. I mean, you could argue that's equally as bad, but at least I didn't see him bottle it as many times as I did with Werner, especially the occasions that Miz obviously mentioned. For me, Havertz gets a 5, but at a push. So probably not gonna be edged to much higher than maybe a 5.5. Let me go with you first, Pies. What would you give Kai? 5, or do you think that's too low?
By the way, shout out to my man Pies, man. Nice seeing you, bro.
Yeah, you too, Miz. It's always good to speak with Miz as well. To be honest, in terms of Havertz, it was like you said, we played against his strengths today. Like, I'm sorry. I'm just really annoyed as well. I've seen an article from Matt Law who's basically said we need to ditch the false 9 experiment, and Havertz's best position at the moment is on the substitutes bench, which is absolutely ridiculous. And
Matt Law's on a bit of a madness lately. Honestly, he's a bit of a madness.
It's crazy. I don't know whether he has some agenda against German people, but like
it's
what weird, isn't it?
He does. Honestly, Laurenz, he does.
You know what I think it is because he really loves Tammy Abraham, and the 2 players that are starting in 4 positions that Tammy is against is those 2, and he's writing negative pieces all the time. And I don't want to make this about the media and stuff, but for him to say that Havertz should be benched going forward just based off tonight is absolutely ridiculous. And he's receiving a lot of bad feedback from that tweet. I'm just annoyed, to be honest, because Havertz, we didn't play to his strengths tonight. Yes, he's good in the air, but I don't mean you can pump 100 balls up to him against 2 of the most physical centre-backs in the Champions League and expect him to win everything. We never played the balls to his feet because, as I said, we just hoofed it, or when we did go out wide, when we did go forward, it was mostly out wide. I don't know, man. People are being extremely harsh on Havertz. And you can be harsh on Werner as well because it's justified. He's been bad for a while. Havertz hasn't. Since Tuchel has come in, Havertz has been really good. So it's different. It's different context, different situations for people who are trying to people can try and say that I'm a hypocrite or something for bashing Werner and they're not bashing Havertz. No, Havertz didn't play well tonight, but he's played better than Werner has. Like, let's be real. So he does get more leeway. If he has like 5-6 bad matches in a row, sure, he'll be on, getting the same criticism as Werner. But tonight, no, we didn't play to his strengths. He gets a 5 because he didn't get him, he didn't do much. But again, context, not really his fault. So I guess that's what I'm going to give him anyway. But there's context to it.
I just want to add something before you get onto it, Laurenz. Just regarding Matt Law, once again, I'm not having to go at Matt Law. So let's get that one thing, sorted. I do want to say to the live chat, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who are watching this and a lot of people that would watch down the track as well. Please take your time to make an assessment by yourself. Like as Pys has said, Matt Law's gone out there and he's put something against, put an article about Kai Havertz, and a lot of people are going out there and abusing Kai Havertz right now, which, as Pys said, is not unjustified. It's not justified at all. Kai Havertz has literally played a handful of games since he's come back, and he's been doing all right in the false line position. Let's not forget what he did against Everton. That false line's particular performance was brilliant, and we want to see more of that. If he can continue to emulate that, he's going to be fantastic for us. This game, once again, as the boys have said, it wasn't structured for him. We kept on playing long against a couple of big defenders. Pepe, he's not going to get beaten by that kind of stuff. So, Kai Havertz probably needed to come deep and help out, and he will learn from that. But Matt Law to go out there and create this sort of agenda that Kai Havertz needs to be benched, we need to see. Look, no disrespect to Tammy Abraham. Honestly, no disrespect. He ain't the striker for us going forward. He's not going to win us Champions League. He's not going to win us Premier League. Let's just get that sorted first up. I thank him so much for all the goals he scored for us last season. This season, he's apparently the top goal scorer and whatnot. I thank him. But there's a lot of deficiencies in this man's game that needs to be developed. We can't be sitting here thinking Tammy Abraham is the finished product. Oh my God, why isn't Thomas Tuchel starting, a Haaland-like player? We've got him in the bench. We should be using him. Let's not make it that of a scenario, because it's not that. We are talking about getting a striker because we don't believe in Tammy Abraham to take us to those glory days. Can we stay patient? Maybe we can. But right now, Roman has invested too much in this football club for him to be too patient. He wants to win stuff next season. He wants to see results this season. So that's all I'm going to say. We need to be very mindful about some of these journalists and what they're putting, because honestly, Laurenz and PYS as well, a lot of our fan base, when they read stuff from Matt Law, they get convinced. They get convinced. They're like, for example, Rudiger. Look at the monster performance Rudiger put in today. I can see you guys giving him 7.5. And honestly, I probably would have given him 8 at least. But this is the thing. Matt Law goes out there and produces that article about Rudiger, and he gets that slandering. And what does he do when he comes back? He puts on a masterclass of a performance. So we just need to be very, very mindful about some of these players and what these journalists are talking about, and make our own judgment.
Yeah, I agree. Although I do want to, because Jester said, he blocked Matt Law after the Rudiger slander and stuff. I will say this, Tammy wants 180 bags. That's also journalists telling you that. Don't necessarily take their word for it. We don't officially know whether that's true. Like, it might well be, because there must be a reason why he hasn't signed a contract. Probably that the Chelsea haven't offered him as much wages as he wants. But I will say,
I'm sure they're mates, Laurenz. I reckon they're mates. Matt Law and Tammy Abraham. I reckon they're mates.
There might be. But I will say this: the game today, how it went, I think our best striker would have been Tammy Abraham, because he's the best mix of winning a ball in the air and having pace to run after it after we just punt it every time. Like, I think today he probably would have been the best mix of Havertz and Giroud. Hey, it's a one-off game. I fully agree with you, Miz, that he won't win us Premier League titles and Champions League titles. But in one-off games, I still rate him highly, and I think he's probably still the best finisher, maybe besides Emerson, because he's a madness. But Miz, what would you give Kai today? Would you agree on a 5, or would you say a bit higher or lower?
Look, 5's probably the right. I know a lot of people say why not 4.5 because we gave it to Werner, but for me, Kai Havertz, at least every now and then he did try and drop deep and play that false nine sort of situation. Look, he wasn't good. I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything. He wasn't good. He didn't justify, as you said, Laurenz. Probably a Giroud, maybe a Tammy Abraham probably would have suited the style of football that we were trying to play. Definitely Giroud. I actually, in my preview, had Giroud starting because I thought maybe that's what we were going to do. And against a quality defender like Pepe, you probably need someone like Giroud. But yeah, I think five's justifiable.
Yeah, that is fair enough. Before we get to the subs, because obviously you joined after we discussed those ratings, you touched on Rudiger's already. I just want to get your thoughts on what we've rated it so far. Like in our heads, kind of Mendy, James, and Chilwell were kind of the 3 man of the matches. For Pais, it was Mendy and Iches. It can be Mendy, but they can still all be 9s, if that makes sense. Our logic for the back 3, just to explain it, was Aspie was good. Well, very good. Had a lot of important interceptions, important tackles. Maybe could have given a penalty away. That's a debate to be had, I guess. And his passing wasn't great, but I don't expect as great passing from deep from Aspie as I do of Christensen and Rudiger. While defensively, Christensen was maybe that edge better than Aspie, but I criticize him more for his passing not being better. And Rudiger, I just got annoyed. Do you remember that moment when he called for offside? When the guy was 10 meters behind him when the ball was played and forced Mendy into making a really good save. That's myself and Pai said, that's just the old Rudiger moment where he just has a brain fart. And it just really annoyed me. And it's why we gave him the 7.5, even though I would totally concede you can certainly give the 3 of them an 8.
I have to agree, man. I'm a bit upset about the 7.5. I'm not going to lie, boys, for Rudiger. For me, I feel like this guy's presence since Tuchel has taken over has been fantastic. Besides that own goal that we had before with Rudiger, I can't really remember any other bad performances. He's been solid. I completely understand what you said, Laurenz, in regards to that one sort of situation today. But look, if we're going to allow, I've seen Azpilicueta a couple of times in the first half giving the ball away very cheaply as well. So, we still ended up giving Azpilicueta 8. Christensen, yeah, he's been solid. But for me, it's not like he had any much better than Rudiger. So for me, I would have bumped up Rudiger to an 8. Oh, there you go. We've got Rudiger to 8. Fantastic.
It's a combined effort of our ratings. So, if you want to go for an 8, I think it's fair that we do. It's not much higher than we wanted to go. And I think Pais was kind of hinting towards giving Rudiger an 8 as well anyway, weren't you?
Yeah, I was, to be fair. Yeah, so that's cool if you guys want to do that.
Exactly. But would you agree on Mendy, James, and Chilwell before we get to Jorginho and Kovacic?
Yeah, man, James has been epic. It probably would have been close to a man of the match. I think you guys were saying he is probably close to one of the man of the match performances. He was defensively so aware, positionally aware, muscled out almost every opposition that was in front of him. And going forward is something that I want to say that he was good, but he needs to have that belief that he has the delivery. I think he's stopped that belief that he literally has. Look, Trent Alexander-Arnold has supreme delivery, but Reece James is there. I would say he's there in terms of quality, and he needs to just believe himself again. That's where I feel every now and then he could take that opportunity and whip in that ball and find those players who are in and around the box trying to get to them. But yeah, 100% believe Reece James 9 and Mendy, man, he was immense. The way he commanded the box, even that shot. Do you remember that Diaz shot? How he takes that ball, cuts in, and then snapshots. Mendy saw that all the way. He saw that all the way. So if I was on target, he would have saved that. So besides that, he made some other really, really good saves as well. So for Mendy, I think we need to stop talking about Donnarumma. I think this guy is number 1 Chelsea goalkeeper for sure next season as well. So 9s for both of them. Completely agree.
Fair enough. And Chilwell as well, would you agree? We were saying he was maybe an edge worse than Reece, but the goal kind of bumps him up to give him the same rating in the end. Yeah,
for me, Chilwell, I think we honestly, and I was a bit of a massive sort of someone who didn't believe he could be a left wing back for us. When Tuchel sort of changed things up, I thought Alonso becomes the number 1 sort of selection. I think now we can genuinely see over the last few matches, Chilwell's progression in that particular position. Defensively, he's rock solid. So that's a massive tick against Alonso, who's not that great defensively. And now he's finding those odd opportunities in attack as well. He scored that it was an own goal, but that shot against Sheffield United, I believe. Chilwell had that shot that went in. Obviously today, very good opportunistic moment for him. He was lurking in and around, waiting for a mistake, and he pounced and he got in there, beat the keeper, scored the goal, 2-0, cherry on top. So we need to start talking about Chilwell as being the number one left wing back for Chelsea if we continue with 3 at the back. So for me, yeah, once again, justified that. Yeah, probably would have had him as an 8.5, just below Reece James and Mendy, but the goal, as you said, bumps him up, and 100% agreed once again.
Fair enough. That is very good, and 100% agree on Chile. Like, it's also just so good to see when we had a couple of moments and but they were kind of hitting us on a break, and you just see Chilwell just storming back, and you just know when you think of a game when Alonso is playing, and you see he might try to storm back, but it's just not going to be very fast. And Chilwell actually catches up with people, and tries to put people off, and
Alonso comes back after the action is finished. Once the action is done, Alonso's there.
Exactly, that's exactly it. And how about Jorginho and Kovacic? I would actually have given them a lower rating than this. I don't think they were that good. Pice's argument for he would have given both of them an 8, even 8.5. Pice said, for me, and he explained it in a way that because Porto pressed so well, they still dealt with it pretty good. My approach to it was, I know they pressed as well, but I still believe both of them could have dealt with it better. And I don't think they were that brilliant. But again, I would have given them a 7, and I don't think 7 is a bad rating.
I probably have to agree that they're a 7. 7.5 makes me think that they had a very decent game. Do you know what I mean? And here's my argument, right? The first 30 minutes or 25 to 30 minutes, there was no midfield. It was non-existent. Porto was all over us. And then both Kovacic and Jorginho sort of got into the game. And then obviously Kovacic had that really nice assist for Mason Mount. You know, let's not forget, that was a nice ball straight through the middle. You know, that's where he draws the defender out. And then obviously Mason Mount with a half turn completely does the defender. You know, Mason Mount would not be able to do that without Jorginho's brilliant, ball that was laid onto him. So, I can understand how both Kovacic and Jorginho came back into the game. And even in the second half, Porto was all over us. Yes, Pice, you're right in the sense that we managed it better in the second half. We endured the pressure, and they were part of it. Kovacic and Jorginho endured the press. I think 7 is probably the decent score. 7.5 makes me think that they had a far better game than decent, which I don't think they did. I think they could have had a far better game than that. But look, we won. I think 7's a good point, good enough score.
Fair enough. I think Pice was super excited for you to be coming on. I think he might change that opinion in a minute because he's not happy when you give Kovacic lower ratings than he wants to.
I know. The man's a Kovacic fan.
Bro, I got one thing. Just leave the stream. I'm disgusted with you, man. Honestly, I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted.
See, I will be nice today to Pice because he turned up last second to my what's it called? To my preview stream after Monster sadly had to cancel last second. We
give this one to Pice. We give this one to Pice, bro. We give it to him.
To somewhat. We'll do something which I haven't done before. We'll give them 7.25.
So you're not being totally nice then. You're still, you're still on your rating.
No. It's just because it's 2 against 1, but we don't want to be harsh because we like you, so we're giving you the 7.25 at least.
All right, that's cool.
So I think that's fair. But now, let's get to the subs, ladies and gentlemen. We still have 200 people watching. Big up to all of you guys, even though it's late. Probably wherever you are, unless you're in Australia, then it's early. Then fair play to you as well. Get subscribed, that'd be massively appreciated. We want to hit 10,000 subscribers as soon as possible. So make sure you subscribe, smash the like button, use the super chat function if you want to support the channel, if you have anything to add. But of course, you don't have to. It will always be free of charge to watch my content. But also check out, of course, Miz, the other side of the coin on YouTube. The link is down in the description below. Like I said, I will be over there at 1 p.m. UK time tomorrow in the afternoon.
1 p.m. UK time. Yes, sir.
Exactly. So definitely tune in for that. And of course, check out Pice on Twitter. His link, as always, is down in the description. But now let's get to the subs. Of course, we did a double substitution, I think around the hour mark, maybe 65 minutes of Christian Pulisic and Olivier Giroud coming on, and I discussed it with Pice earlier already. Initially, that didn't really work because for the first 10, 15 minutes after that, we were kind of just again non-existent in the whole game, really. While kind of the 5 minutes before that sub, we kind of started to get into it a little bit more. Obviously, we had that Werner offside squaring it to Havertz almost scoring moment, and it was kind of getting a bit better. And then that sub happened, and we were kind of dead again for at least 10 minutes, shall we say. But I think Giroud, I'm almost giving Giroud a no rating because I didn't even notice he was there, to be honest. not necessarily in the bad, but also not necessarily in a good way. While Pulisic did good things, you could argue maybe should have scored. I still think when he hit the bar, he was offside anyway. But because he hit the bar, we never saw a replay of it. I'm pretty sure he was a step or two offside. But hey, it is what it is. I would personally give Pulisic what would I say?
It's so hard to rate the subs, isn't it, Laurenz? I mean, they didn't really get that much time to put a massive impact on the game. So it's very difficult, man. Yeah,
it's super difficult. I always try to just I just rate them for those 20 minutes. It's not necessarily their fault that they didn't play more, if that makes sense, or however much they got, right? I would give Pulisic maybe a 6.5, 7. Obviously, I'm not 100% convinced. If he was offside, 6.5. If he was onside, 7. I'm not but I don't know. So
let's get the VAR out. Let's get the VAR out.
Exactly. Before we get to Mrs. rating, Pys, what would you give Pulisic before we get to Giroud?
Yeah, again, hard because obviously he did hit the bar and he did try and got on dribbles, but every time he tried, he got absolutely bodied by defenders and then fouled and stuff. So, I mean, he was definitely more involved than Giroud. As I said, I'd kind of give like an A to Giroud because I didn't even notice he was on the pitch, to be honest with you. We kind of used him as just a, sticking point. We're going to just chuck the balls up to you, do your best sort of thing. That's why I'm surprised he didn't really start because that's really all we did was just hoof it up long because of Porto's press. So, difficult. Pulisic maybe 7.5, something like that, or is that too high for a sub? Not too sure. I feel like that's a all right rating considering what he did.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's an edge too high, but I think it's fair as well. Miz, what about you? What would you lean towards with Pulisic?
Yeah, Pulisic, I completely agree with what Pi said in regards to he had a little bit more impact. He pressed well. He looked busy. He looked like he was interested to cause damage. Do you know what I mean? I like that. I like the intent. From a sub, that's what you want to see. You want to see the intent that coming from the bench, obviously putting that impression on the manager that, hey, I need to start next game. So I like that. 7.5 probably a bit too high for a substitution because you start to think that he really changed the outlook of the game coming off the bench. I don't think he did. I think for me, 6.5 is probably a good effort off the bench, better than average. Obviously, that opportunity where it was good movement to get into that sort of situation for the shot, thundering shot. Had that gone in, I think that would have been pandemonium in Chelsea football Twitter or Chelsea community all over anyway. So whether it was offside or not, debatable for another day. But for me, 6.5 and Giroud, honestly, I don't even know if you can rate him. I honestly, just like you boys, I didn't even see him. It was probably more of the fact that Timo Werner needed to come off because he was not being very effective. So we threw in someone like Giroud up there. But I don't even know if he touched the ball that much, or I don't even know if he did anything decisive at all. So I don't know how do you rate Giroud? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for me, just because he was on the pitch for long enough to not give him no rating. Like I said, I start at a 5. If you do something good, you go up. If you do something bad, you go down. And I didn't see either of Giroud, so I'm giving him a 5, if that makes sense.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
You fair with that as well, Pys, or would you go higher?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you if you just want to do it that way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. And I gave Pulisic the 7, by the way, because I was kind of between 6.5 and 7. Miz was more leaning towards the 6.5, and Price was with the 7.5. So I think 7 is a fair intermediate of the three of us. And then we get to N'Golo Kante, who I thought was brilliant off the bench. And in terms of impact, I think he actually had a really big impact, which, considering he was only on the pitch for 10 minutes, I mean, he was involved in... Obviously, not necessarily played the ball to Pulisic. That was Kovacic, but he was involved in out of nowhere. We had pace and created and energy, and I think a lot of that came down to N'Golo Kante. So I would be very happy to. I know he was only on the pitch for 10 minutes, but only rating those 10 minutes and the impact he had, I'd be very happy to give him just an edge more than Pulisic, because I think in terms of impacting how the team dealt with the rest of the game, I think Kante was very good. 7.5, I'd be very okay with. Like, obviously, subs, that's why there's like it's a separate section. So it's not comparable in terms of rating to the players that started and played 60 or more. But still, I would even let myself be swayed to an 8. I know it sounds silly for a sub, but just for those 10 minutes, I think he was very, very good. Pys, what would you say about N'Golo?
To be honest, I'm going to be honest. I didn't notice him as much as you did. To be honest, maybe I was just kind of slacking off the game a little bit, but I don't know. I didn't really notice him that much, so I don't really have an opinion on him, to be honest. The one time I did see him, he lost the ball, and that was pretty much it. But the other times I didn't really see him, so I can't. To be honest, I'm gonna have to leave it to you two, because I can't really give an opinion on someone I didn't really notice. It's kind of like Giroud. I just, what do I say, really? I can't give a rating like you have, because you notice more. So
that is fair enough. Miss, what would you say then about Kante?
Yeah, look, I probably didn't notice as much as you have, Laurenz, but I have noticed a little bit more than what Pys was probably noticing in regards to that. And it's very difficult. We all watch the game differently. Do you know what I mean? Like, some are focused on the build-up, some are focused on the midfield, some are focused on what the striker's doing. It's very difficult. That's why a lot of people go out there and watch the match again just to see exactly what happened. But from what I've seen, I think he had a bit of an impact. He came in defensively, kept it nice and neat alongside with Thiago Silva. But it's that counter. Every time we sort of gone in on a counter, he was there. He brought that energy. He was there helping out with the attack. As you said, Laurenz, that whole situation with Pulisic's shot, he was there in and around that situation. And there was another opportunity where he drove the ball forward as well, and it didn't end up happening, nothing. But I think at least with Kante, you noticed, as opposed to Giroud, there was nothing noticeable. And it's that defensive factor that did the job for me. I think it just brought a lot more calmness in the team. And you can see why Tuchel was so eager to bring back Kante into the team. I'm pretty sure in the second leg, Kante is going to start alongside whether it be Kovacic or Jorginho. Very well he's going to start. So, look, not 7.5 for me, but probably a 7, I think. Created a good impact, yeah.
That's fair. After what Pys said, and obviously him not noticing him much, even though he basically said he wouldn't give him a rating, I would assume that in my head it's him giving him a 5, 6, something like that. So I think if you said 7 and I said 7.5, I think giving him a 7 as well, then same as Pulisic, is probably fair. And Thiago Silva is one where I'm more going in the Giroud direction, where I didn't really notice. But in terms of, it's a bit different as a centre-back than as a forward. If I don't notice you negatively as a centre-back, that's probably a good thing. And our defensive solidity, I think, like, obviously we were struggling quite a bit with Porto, at times in the game. But I think after that double sub of Kante and Thiago Silva, I can't remember Porto getting anywhere near a goal in that last 10, 15 minutes. So you could say just for that, Kante and Thiago Silva did their job very well. So just because maybe he didn't stand out as much, I mean, I would be happy to give Silva a 7 if we gave Kante a 7.5, but then give Silva a 6.5, I don't know. Or maybe even push it to a 7, Miss, what would you say?
Yeah, 6.5 is decent, man. I mean, it's not like he got out there and he created heavy impact like Kante. And that's not a bad thing, as you said. It's not a bad thing because we've shut up shop. As soon as Kante and Thiago Silva came on, I think that was a message from Thomas Tuchel that we are shutting up shop. See you later. We are taking the 1-0 and we're out of here. Obviously, 2-0 was a cherry on top. And yeah, we looked rock solid since they came on. But then again, Rudiger was there, Christensen was there, Reece James was there. So for me, I think 6.5 is a decent score for Silva. It doesn't probably deserve the 7 that we gave for Kante.
Fair enough. Pys, what about you? Did you notice him a bit more than Kante, or was it a similar situation?
It was kind of similar. I mean, one of the comments has made me laugh. They said that I was watching the Bayern PSG game and I wasn't watching Chelsea, which I actually wasn't. I just when it was 2-0 and the subs come on late, it was scrappy, and I was just, I don't know, must have just not been paying attention to the subs really. Apart from when Pulisic got hacked out and hit the bar, obviously, I didn't really notice the subs too much today. But I guess I have to trust you guys. I noticed them on the ball a couple of times, but there was no defensive situations where I was like, oh, Silva, that's great defending or anything, because, you know, it was just kind of closing out the game type subs, if you get what I mean. So it's hard.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I mean, I will say, when Emerson came on in that 92nd minute, I was like, oh, we're going to win 3-0. He's going to score with his first touch again. Sadly, wasn't to be. So we probably can't give Emerson a rating. Like, I think for him, we just actually give him that NA because, I mean, he was on the pitch for literally 2 minutes. Like, we're going to give him a rating. That's quite difficult. So let's just give Emerson the NA before we get to a Thomas Tuchel rating. Myself and, less so Pys, but myself, I had not crazy criticisms of Tuchel, but I didn't like the fact that we just punted it as much as we did. And it seemed a bit too much instruction than players not listening. So I'm not going to give him like an 8 or 9. I would be okay giving him a 7. I think the Giroud sub didn't work how he wanted it to. But the Kante and Thiago Silva subs really worked. Pulisic had a positive impact too. So I think a 7 rating for Tuchel. I know it sounds harsh. We got this 2-0 away win in Europe in the Champions League quarterfinal. Great. But the goals were more individual ability than managers' work, if you ask me. But hey, you know, maybe you two will sway me differently. Pys, what would you say about Thomas Tuchel? What rating would you give him, and how would you summarize it? Shall we say?
Yeah, I think 7's a little bit too low.
Okay.
I still think we dominated quite a lot of the game, and I just think because of our defensive performance. As a whole, I think he gets a higher rating, obviously, because again, it takes balls to not play Thiago Silva as well. Like to stick faith back in Christensen. Like, I was really happy to see that, and not happy at the same time, because obviously I love Thiago Silva, so I was like, oh damn, Silva's not playing, but Christensen came in, did really, really well, and I just think for our defensive performance, Mendy as well, obviously it was individuals as well, but. You know, Tuchel picks a team. He didn't do anything outside the box. He didn't go 4 at the back. He didn't take any risks. So I'm not going to go too high.
But I still feel like, you know what we discussed earlier, how we didn't play to Havertz's strength. He still picked Havertz and Werner, and they were completely ineffective.
But also,
not just down to individual problems.
But also, I have to say to that, though, I think part of our game plan was to actually, as I said, you know, when we was like going down the sides to Chilwell and James, I think the idea was to get them in behind and then play the crosses across the box to Havertz and Werner. But because we didn't get to that stage because the passing was so crap, you know, Havertz and Werner didn't have the chance to get in the box and attack things because we just didn't attack because, you know, we hoofed it. And when we tried to go out wide, the passing was terrible. So we didn't create the 2v1 overloads out wide like I would have liked us to. But again, I don't really think that's on the manager as such because that was clearly part of the game plan because we was doubling up out wide all the time. That's obviously something that he told them to do, to isolate their fullbacks by doubling up, you know, with our fullbacks, our wing backs, if you want to call them. So I feel like the tactics were there. It just, the players didn't execute it today. But then again, you know, that's harsh on the manager. Like, I'll give him a solid 8, but I won't go any higher.
Fair enough. Miz, what about you? Because I would say Pys's explanation makes sense. But Miz, what would you say? What rating and what explanation shall we say?
All right, here's my logic around the thing. And I'll give my rating right at the end. If we look at, Laurenz, what you said, spot on. If we look at completely the game in itself and all the tangible things that happened in the game, I get your point, 7, right? But this is how I'm looking at it. I'm looking at all the other facets of football, not just the game, but outside of the game, and putting it all together as a package. So everything that he said leading up to the game, bang on. All his talks that he's been doing, bang on for me in regards to what happened in the West Brom match, you know, how he addressed how it was very uncharacteristic, how we lost our heads, you know, after that red card. He did not see that coming, but he understood, you know, he learned a lot of things off the back of that. You know, he was saying that we should not forget the good work that we've done, the 14 games that we've played, and not forget everything just because of the lot. So that build-up was good. So that's a tick mark for me, because a lot of managers off the back of that loss may not always have the best build-up, and you can sense it in their conversation and in their press conferences. But you did not sense that with Thomas Tuchel, so that's a great tick. The lineup for me, once again, he's stuck with Jorginho and Kovacic, who didn't have the great game against West Brom, but He pretty much said to the guys that I'm not going to forget what you've done for me so far. So I don't want you to forget either. That game has happened. You give me the performance that I know you can give me. So he believed in that.
Although he also had to pick those two, kind of, didn't he? Because Kante wasn't fit to start. He wasn't really going to put Mount or Gilmore there for such a big game. But I get your point. Continue, sorry.
But as Pi said, he could have gone drastic and changed the formation around, go forward the back, play a lone DM, so on and so forth, play 3 midfield. But he didn't do that. He stuck with his guns and he went on with it. He brought in Chilwell. You know, Alonso wasn't that great. He stuck with Reece James when there was a lot of talks about maybe getting Callum Hudson-Odoi probably a chance in right wing back or maybe up front. So a lot of things in regards to that was good. Now to talk about the game management, as you said, Laurenz, I wasn't very happy with the way we were playing in the first 25 to 30 minutes because we were hoofing the ball, but we didn't have the caliber of players to play out that particular scenario. Now, whether that was the instruction or not, I'm not sure, because I feel like when you play with Kai Havertz, that surely cannot be the instruction. He should be coming deep. But I don't know, maybe that was the instruction because the players, our forward players, did not seem to come back. So maybe that was the instruction. So there's a negative mark on that. But the way the team sort of still persevered through hard times, I think that would have been something that came from Thomas Tuchel before the game and to the lead up to the game, telling the boys that, boys, just believe in yourself. You're going to go through the suffer ball scenarios in this particular match, and you cannot collapse the way he collapsed against West Brom. So that's a tick mark for Thomas Tuchel. I'm pretty sure he would have addressed that. And in the second half, being up 1-0, Porto came hunting back. You know, they were hunting us a lot, but we stayed very commanding. And once again, I feel like Thomas Tuchel probably said to the boys in halftime that just stay compact, persevere. We're going to get that goal. Eventually enough, we got that goal. So for me, look, the rating is 8, man. I think 7 is probably, as you said, maybe a bit harsh, but that's if we purely look at the game management side of things. As you said, maybe the substitution of Giroud didn't really create that impact, but you can say, you know, Pulisic and Kante and Thiago Silva probably provided a bit more impact with those substitution. So for me, you know, looking at the package, I think it's an 8.
Yeah, I agree with that. So far, we haven't really given manager ratings as the package, but I don't think it's a bad approach, to be honest. I think because in terms of the manager,
the other side of the coin, my man. It's the other side of the coin.
That is brilliant. Love that. That was superb. That was superb.
I'm going to clip that out.
Yeah, you should. You should. Hey, you've swayed me. Both of you made sense. Giving Thomas Tuchel an 8. Just to explain it to what Dane K said, giving him a 7, it's not criticizing. It's not like I gave him a 4, right? Like, obviously, we have a win, right? And I know that. But last time out, we were giving people 1s and 2s. So don't be telling me I'm being harsh when I give out 7s. Like, all right, calm down. It really wasn't that bad. I just said 7. I didn't say 4 or something. Right. But yeah,
still a good mark. 7's a good mark, man.
There you go. That's exactly it. But yeah, I think in the end, Mendy 9, Aspi 8, Christensen 8, Rudiger 8, Reece James and Ben Chilwell 9, Jorginho and Kovacic 7.25, Mason Mount 8. Actually, I didn't get your opinion on that. Would you agree with that, Miz? Sorry, Pice, Miz.
Miz and Pice mixed together, Mice.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe we were thinking 7.5, 8, and then we were thinking maybe a 7, but the goal was so good and so important that he pushed it up by like 1.5 or something. If that makes sense, like that was our logic because the goal was just so good and important.
Yeah, I think 8.5 is very good. He probably deserves that. Look, once again, he's another player that many probably don't understand all the things that stats can't pick up. The energy, the running, the ability to, hustle. He forces the opposition to quicken up their play and really, get rattled. He does that. And that's an attribute in itself. And you can't find a stat for that. Show me a stat for hustling the defender. There is no stat, but he does that. So we need to see those facets. As I said, his cross for Timo Werner, at least hit it on target. Maybe that could have been an assist, and God knows what people would have thought after that. And that goal, what can I say about that goal? Do not kid me. Every single people, what is it, Laurenz, at the moment? 200 plus people that are watching it live right now?
250 even.
250. Smash that like button, first of all. And secondly, do not lie to me that the 250 watching right now and the thousands that will watch down the track, that you were not up up your seat when Mason Mount scored that goal. You knew you were screaming your lungs out and you were saying that this kid is going to be something special moving forward. So, look, what a great half turn. What a finish. Someone said to me in my stream, one of my panelists said that the expected goal percentage for that particular goal that Mason scored was less than 0.5. Like he shouldn't have scored from that angle. Like, it shouldn't have been a goal. The keeper either would have saved it or he misses it. So he ended up scoring a goal when it shouldn't have been a goal.
Really good strike, a really clean strike.
Yeah, so 8.5, man, massively deserved. He was busy. He had the right attitude. I've said it, man. He's Thomas Tuchel's one of the most important players, if not Thomas Tuchel's most valuable player. You tell me which particular forward player, I'm not talking about defensively, there's a lot of good players, obviously, but forward players, attacking-minded players, he is Thomas Tuchel's most valuable player. Tell me one player that Thomas Tuchel might think is a bit more than Mason Mount. I honestly can't think of it.
Well, Werner, because he keeps playing him, but no, I'm joking. No, 100%. And no, I agree on Mason. And I mean, people before this game would say, "Oh, did we even play Mount? Like he doesn't give us anything in the final third." Like that's what you saw all over Twitter. And, obviously people say, "Just play him in the double pivot, otherwise don't play him at all." All this kind of crap. I'm like, stop hating and doubting Mason Mount. Like there is the word is just true. He's inevitable. I mean, he's top goal scorer now under Thomas Tuchel. He's got 5 goals. None of them were penalties, by the way. I was one of them. I cannot remember.
I think one of them might have been. One of them might have been.
One of them might. But regardless, he's got left foot finishes, right foot finishes, outside the box, inside the box, assists as well. Should have maybe had another one today with the cross for Timo Werner. Like you said, Mason Mount is obviously take away the defense maybe a bit, but in terms of the offensive play, he's the first name on the team sheet. And there's no two questions about it. He is the one guy that starts no matter what if he's somewhat fit. And let's be honest, Tuchel, I guarantee, would have wanted to start him on Saturday against West Brom too.
100%. If Southgate didn't do the madness and play him 3 games in a row, he was starting.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, thankfully, it was the last international break until after the season, which is good. That's a weird thing. I didn't really realize this until now. I was expecting that to be another international break. Why do we do 3 in autumn and just 1 in spring? It's a bit of a weird thing to me. But hey, I guess it's the more clutch end of the season, you could argue. But yeah, Mason Mount, what a man, what a guy. Anything else you want to add to that, Pais, to our Mason Mount propaganda?
No, I just completely agree with you, to be honest. It feels weird for me. I always say this, like, to just be like praising him so much, because I was like one of the ones back in the day, like really doubted him and just didn't really rate him at all. So to now be handed a nice juicy L feels good as a fan, just because,
Hey, no, bro. We all make mistakes. You can just change your opinion. That's fine.
I love that about you, Pais, but I love that. You admit it. You know what I mean?
But you can't change your opinion on Twitter anyway. Maybe on YouTube, but not on Twitter. It's not allowed apparently. So, but I can spread props on here anyway, because like he has been so good. I think someone said he scored like more goals under Tuchel than he did for Lampard or something. Like, is that true? I don't know. Like, that's crazy if it's true.
Oh, including last season or just this season?
I'm not sure. I think it might be this season.
Must be this season. True. This season, I think it is true.
So I think, I
think it is.
I think it is true.
He scored more goals after Lampard has gone.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, I said it before. I think,
to be fair, he is playing higher up the pitch since Tuchel came.
Yeah,
you have to say that. But
I'm not thinking against Frank Lampard, guys. Honestly,
no.
I think against Frank Lampard.
Get you. Sorry, Pais. Go on.
No, I was just going to say, like, if he continues this, then is he probably going to be Player of the Year, isn't he? Like, I don't think that's a debate.
100%.
I said this before as well, like, because there's, like, multiple people in the running, like Silva, like Mendy, like Mount, those were, like, the main 3 for me. I said to myself, I was like, whoever, I said this to Alex Goldberg as well, I was like, whoever kind of, like, maybe clutches up in the Champions League or FA Cup semi or really, really helps us to get top 4, I think that may just sway it a little bit, because you got to remember it's mostly fan voted as well, so it's going to be interesting to see who wins it, but I think Mount probably does deserve it at the moment for me.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I think I think now it's only between Mason and Mendy, to be honest, because I think Thiago was injured for too long to still make Player of the Year. Maybe that's a bit harsh, but I think he was out for too long in too crucial of a period where the team gained so much ground in the league and also qualified for the quarterfinals, and then he didn't even play in the first leg of the quarterfinal. To be still in that conversation, in my opinion, Mendy is a fair shout, to be honest. But yeah, for me, it's quite clearly Mason, in all honesty. Anything else either of you guys have to add, or shall we round it out here?
I just want to quickly say, someone said to me on my live stream that Mason Mount's father started following me, and I thought it was a bit of a joke. And I just checked now that he does follow me, so I'm not really sure why he did that. So yeah, that's a little bit of.
Pick up yourself.
So that's a little bit of a win for me.
Well, he's blocked me, so it's a bit different for me. So
well, he's blocked you. Oh, no.
He's blocked me.
Please, maybe you should drop Mr. Tony Mount a message saying Pice has changed. He's seen the light.
So you know what it was.
I think I will.
You know what it was. You remember the Folk tweet where he was like, Havertz is coming in, Mount not happy with it. He's in his position. Do you remember that tweet?
Yeah, I do remember.
So I put in the comments, because obviously I believed Folk, he was like really reliable. I put, Mount is going to have to deal with it. It's a part of Chelsea, you know, it's a competition. Then I checked Tony Mount and he just blocked me. So I was like, okay. Okay.
Oh, that is maybe a little bit slightly reactionary from
maybe Pice. I'll get Tony Mount and yourself in my channel, and we can work something out together.
That'll be awkward.
Exactly. No, be good. No. But guys, it's been a lovely evening. No, that's an under-exaggeration. It's been a brilliant evening. We won 2-0 in the bloody Champions League, and it still feels weird. Like, it's away, and it was away, but it wasn't at home for Porto, and we're also playing in the same place again on Tuesday. Weird. Regardless, officially, it was the 2-0 away win in the UEFA Champions League quarterfinal. Like someone put in the chat earlier, Chelsea is the only team that could get battered 5-2 by West Brom and then win 2-0 in the Champions League quarterfinals. And true, probably no other team out there that can do something like that. But hey, I'll take it. I'm incredibly pleased. Let's hope we can get back to winning form again on Saturday against Crystal Palace as well before we, secure this dub in the quarterfinals against Porto on Tuesday, and then hopefully make the FA Cup finals as well. I've been telling everybody, the Champions League's coming on, the FA Cup's coming on. We're just making 2012 even better by finishing top 4 alongside it. Like I've been saying it. Like the stars are aligned. I can see it. It's nighttime. We can see it. Miz can't because it's morning time already, but we can see it. The stars are aligned and it's going to happen. But ladies and gentlemen, I do appreciate every single one of you that has tuned in. Like I said a couple of times already, please be sure to subscribe. That would honestly mean the world to me. We want to hit 10,000 subscribers as soon as possible. So get subscribed. That would be absolutely brilliant. Smash the like button. Become a member if you fancy that join button underneath if you're on desktop, or a link in the description if you're on your phone. Subscribe to Miz, obviously the other side of the coin. Down in the description below, just click the @ of his name. Takes you straight to his channel. You will see me as part of his stream tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. UK time, sign that into your calendars. Definitely tune in and subscribe. Like I said, check out Pice. This is two confusing names to me. Check out Pice on Twitter. Of course, check out Miz on Twitter as well. Again, appreciate both of you guys for coming on. What a great night we had. What a great day it was. Whatever you want to say. I'm tired. It's been a long day. Thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea. And I'll see you next time.